Hey everyone, Kirk Rifles bringing you what's arguably the most sought after Toyota currently in production. Well, not counting the GR Yaris we don't get here. This is a 2021 Rav4 Prime with the XSE. This is the top trim, almost $50,000. Today we'll dive into this plug-in hybrid's exterior design, explore its practical and well-equipped interior, break down the highlights, well, and there's some lowlights too, and put the zippy electrified crossover through its paces. Is the Rav4 Prime's lofty price tag worth its Swiss Army knife approach with no compromises? Well, let's find out. On the front end of the Rav4 Prime, it's not that much different, to be honest, than a normal Rav4 hybrid. When this XSE though, this is what really sets it apart as the Prime, would be these vertical LED lights, which aren't that much different from like a 2014 Ford Edge. Really, everything up here looks familiar, except for this very bottom lip to give it that extra recognition as the second fastest Toyota in the lineup, at least here in America. So from the side, we have two-tone paint color, which is an option, as well as the supersonic red paint color is new for the Rav4. It looks really sharp. It's been getting definitely a lot of looks on the streets here. The 19-inch wheels are the largest you can get on a Rav4. Now on the back of the Rav4 Prime, what makes it extra special is, of course, the Rav4 Prime badge right there. You're not going to miss that. But this partition right here on a normal Rav4, let's say XSE hybrid, this is gray. So we have an all glossy black portion back here, which I just washed this car this morning and it's filthy already. So that's the nature of glossy black plastic. The exhaust tips are the exact same as the normal Rav4 hybrid and they look good. No fake exhaust tips. The enclosures are a little much, but it still looks good. So this does have a kick sensor in the back. I just don't like using them personally. Behind the second row, well, yeah, the back row of seats, it doesn't have a third row. You have 33 cubic feet of space. You fold down all the seats, you get about 63 cubic feet of space. In the back, you got a large JBL subwoofer to lay down the beat. And then this has the really nifty AC 120 volt, 1500 watts. You can use this as a mobile generator if you want to. Now underneath the hood of the Rav4 Prime, of course, we have a gasoline engine, the A25A FXS, 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. Now the engine produces 176 horsepower itself, but this is a souped up hybrid. So in the front, we also have a 179 horsepower motor to help with propelling the front wheels. In the back, there's a 54 horsepower motor, which is the same motor actually as the Rav4 hybrid non-plug-in edition. Total horsepower is 302 horsepower, and Toyota claims 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds when all systems are working together in harmony. And of course, we'll test that 0 to 60 claim in full electric mode, hybrid mode, but just keep in mind, it's a bit chilly out here today, so tires are not gonna be that warm. Now this is where you plug in the Rav4 Prime. It has an 18.1 kilowatt hour battery, and that is compared to a 1.6 kilowatt hour battery in the normal Rav4 hybrid. Fully electric range is around 42 miles. Miles per gallon is 38 miles per gallon combined, which I personally got a little bit higher than that, even though it's freezing out here. And in my testing, filling this battery, which sits underneath the vehicle, especially in the back, takes about 12 hours when it's fully depleted on a normal 120 volt household plug-in. All right, but I'm freezing, so let's get inside and warm up. Sitting on the inside of the Rav4 Prime XSE, coming in at over $49,000. This thing better be loaded to the gills, and it is. 9-inch touchscreen, wireless charger, fast chargers, paddle shifters, heads-up display, panel roof, ambient lighting, heated steering wheel, heated and ventilated seats. Everything in here is extremely practical, easy to use. It's not the most flashy interior. It's not a luxury car. Well, in theory, it's not a luxury car. You have cubbies here in the dash that have nice ambient lighting in them at night. Here in the XSE, we get full Softex fake leather, and fool me, it feels and looks like real leather. What's interesting, in all the outboard seats here in this vehicle, we have a racing stripe down the middle. We have lots of different designs going on here, but we have some rubber, and quite a bit of it. All the big knobs, the massive climate control knobs covered in striated rubber. Same thing with the volume control knobs. And even the door handles on the inside have this textured striated rubber. Now, the strange patterns don't end there, because we have a diamond pattern where the wireless charger is, where the cubby is on the passenger dash. At the bottom of the cup holders, we have that same pattern. And even on the speaker covers here, we have that same triangle pattern. Now, the only leather on the car is this beautiful steering wheel. Stitching is excellent and it's really comfortable. It is heated, but only on the outside, not on the top and the bottom. In the XSE, like I mentioned, we have paddle shifters, and then behind the steering wheel, we have the MID, which gives us all the information, how efficient we're driving on either full electric range, on hybrid range, what kind of a miles per gallon we're getting. And then of course, behind that is the heads-up display that you get on this XSE. Overall in front, it's an extremely user-friendly experience, especially with the knobs. We gotta love the knobs. Save the knobs, guys. I feel like that should be up there with save the manuals. And let's get in the back seat. In the back seat, we have heated outboard seats. That's nice to see. In the back of the Rav4 Prime, just as comfortable as the front. Dual mat pockets here on this grade. Heated outboard seats, game changer. You often don't see that in more upscale Toyota products in the Lexus lineup. Cup holders, when you fold down the armrest, you have two quick charger USBs underneath the rear vents. And what's strange about this back seat is that there's a plastic cover over the drivetrain hump. Don't know if that's just unique to the Rav4 Prime or not. Maybe it gives it access to the battery pack a little bit easier. Just kind of strange that there's hard black plastic usually where we see carpet in any other vehicle. All right, time for the highlights and lowlights. Digital rear view mirror, pretty darn cool, and for some reason it's also way higher resolution than if I were to put it on reverse and then it come up on this screen here for the rear view camera. So this is way higher resolution, very well done, and it gives you a unobstructed view behind the vehicle. No seats, no windows, just pure rear view vision. Here's another cool feature. Drive mode knob changes colors. It's kind of hard to see during the day, but at night it really lights up well. You guys might know I have a soft spot for shifters. The shifter in here in the Rav4 Prime, not only do we have the excellent red stitching we see on the dash and also on the steering wheel, but it's just really high quality, super solid. Even though it's a cutting edge technology vehicle, they still stick with the traditional shifter. Well done. Okay, here's a weird one. When you put the car in reverse, it sounds like a TIE fighter. Let me roll down the window because this is just, it's bizarre. And my wife thinks it's awful sounding. To me, I think it's kind of cool. I feel like I'm in Star Wars, but yeah, not everyone's going to enjoy that sound. Another cool feature, every single door has smart key access. If you lock the car, have the key in your pocket, you just walk up to every single door handle, even the hatch, and it's going to unlock the vehicle for you. And to cool this big battery pack, of course, Toyota employs lots of different methods, but when you're charging it, you'll hear a little fan on the inside of the car whirring to cool the battery as it charges. And here is that fan located right below the back seat here. Okay, time for the lowlights. This screen here is definitely not on par with the rest of the car. This car in general feels like it's from the future, but everything else on the screen here, it says it's from a generation past, maybe 2 generations. The top down here is super low resolution, PS1 graphics, PS2, it's not good. And even the map doesn't do this car justice. Now I'm sitting in the front passenger seat, which is comfortable, can't complain about that, but the seating position cannot be adjusted height-wise. So you have that on the driver's seat, no big deal. I had my wife in this seat the other night and she's like, oh yeah, it's fine for me, I can see everything, but for me, my head is coming dangerously close to the ceiling here. It's unfortunate in a car that's $50,000, let's round up, almost $50,000, that the front passenger seat can't be adjusted height-wise. Now when you're charging the vehicle and you're ready to take out the plug, it automatic locks itself, which is smart, so no one runs away with your charger. The problem is, even if the doors are unlocked, this thing can still stay locked, so you need to have the key fob with you to unlock the car in order to pull out the charger. I understand why they do it, so you don't get your charger stolen, but it makes it a pain in the butt sometimes if you're just trying to unplug the vehicle. All right, Nebraska's in general super flat, but finding a straightaway to actually do a 0 to 60 in my part of Nebraska, East Nebraska, is not easy. It's very hilly where I live. I found a delicious straightaway. We're going to test the 0 to 60s on the Rav4 Prime. The first one we're going to do is going to be in full electric mode, and it should in theory not be quite as quick as hybrid mode. No one's behind me. Take off the hazards. I am in EV mode, so I'm going to pull onto the road here, come to a complete stop. 3, 2, 1, go. That initial surge of torque is there, and then it just flattens out, and there is 60 now. So that initial surge, that initial oomph to get you off the line is really impressive on the Rav4 Prime in full electric mode. But once you get probably past 25 miles an hour, it feels like it really just falls flat on its face, which I actually wasn't expecting. But it makes sense due to the combined horsepower. The 302 is in hybrid mode when you're using that internal combustion engine as well. So okay, that first 0 to 60 in full EV mode, that was in normal mode. Now we're gonna try it here in sport mode. In theory, we might get a little bit more juice from the battery. Let's try it out. Go. I actually had some wheel spin there, so maybe I should have taken off traction control. So I'm gonna redo that. All right, 0 to 60, full EV mode, sport mode, traction control off. Let's get onto the road here. Full stop, and go. Yeah, that was a much better launch than the previous one where traction control killed it. And we're at 60 now. So it felt a little bit better than the first time I did the 0 to 60. This is a good place to pull off for the hybrid version, or the hybrid 0 to 60. It felt pretty good there. I don't know if it was any faster than normal mode, but it felt pretty good. It had that initial surge. Didn't feel like it tapered off quite as much compared to normal mode. So I just put it in hybrid mode. We're still in sport mode. In theory, that should give us the best results here in this 0 to 60. Let's see if we can get close to the 5.7 second 0 to 60 mark that Toyota is claiming on this vehicle. And full stop, and go. $60. So again, temperature is about 42 degrees. The tires are a bit cold. So I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna have an outstanding 0 to 60 just because of the weather. It was definitely faster than EV mode. It really struggled putting down the power onto the front wheels, because most of that power, guys, is on the front wheel. So I was getting a tiny bit of wheel spin. I don't think traction control would have helped us there. So yeah, it's quick. And I would say in the town is where you feel the most gusto in this plug-in hybrid Rav4 Prime. And the passing power, that initial surge in torque when you want to pass is definitely helpful. And for the 99% of people out here, 302 horsepower and a lot of it being instant with the electric motors, a lot of people, this is going to be like more than ample enough power, more than ample enough acceleration for the average person. But the average person is not buying this vehicle. The average person might be buying the Rav4 hybrid, the standard one, which costs a heck of a lot less than this car. So my max range in electric mode only, I got 39 miles, and I was driving in Grandpa Kirk mode. I know it's not a mode here in the car. I put in eco mode. I was driving extremely slow, extremely cautiously. A lot of it, I'd say it was about 50-50 highway and in-town driving. I got 39 miles. It was also cold that day, about 32 to 40 degrees roughly when I was testing that EV range. In the car, when you're driving in full electric range, it's very quiet, very fun to drive. When it comes to the hybrid range, I actually maybe enjoyed that a little bit more than the full EV range, mainly because I have a Prius and it's more familiar to me to maximize your fuel economy in that mode. So it was a little bit more rewarding for me to drive in hybrid mode to get the most miles per gallon. Speaking of which, mostly in town hybrid driving, I was able to get 45, 46 miles per gallon. Again, Grandpa Kirk mode was activated. I was driving extremely slow, cautious. I was driving the speed limit, wasn't holding up traffic, but I was using all my hybrid hacks to maximize the miles per gallon. So 45 miles per gallon in town is definitely more than the rated for the Rav4 Prime, and it was in cold conditions, mind you, as well. And since this is a hybrid through and through with, a small part of it being a fully electric vehicle. The hybrid integration in this vehicle might be the best I've ever experienced. You rarely ever know when the gasoline engine is on. There's not that much of a difference when it comes to vibration and quietness, whether you're in full EV mode or hybrid mode with the gasoline engine on. So Toyota's really nailed and really completely refined the hybrid system. The brakes in this feel like any other Toyota hybrid. I don't feel like we're getting any more engine braking or motor braking, regenerative braking, I should say, in this system. And I think you might be able to, especially since you have the rear motor as well to recoup energy. But yeah, there's no one pedal driving or anything like this in this Rav4 Prime, at least not in my testing. The handling in this Rav4 Prime, in theory, could be a little bit better than the normal Rav4 hybrid, largely because the battery pack weighs a lot more in this vehicle. And the center of gravity is a little bit lower in theory, but it's also heavier. I'll put the exact numbers. This is a heavier vehicle than the normal Rav4 Prime due to the larger plug-in battery. So handling is going to be subjective. Braking, you're probably going to be better off braking in the normal Rav4 hybrid because it weighs less. So really all this has over the normal Rav4 hybrid is the EV range, well, and the massive amount in power boost. And is all these goodies and extra features really worth it over the Rav4 hybrid? It's definitely going to be up to you, the buyer, or you, the viewer, to decide if this is actually better than the normal Rav4 hybrid. The vehicle I'm in right now, the way it's equipped, is almost $50,000. You can easily get a Rav4 hybrid XSE for significantly less. It is cool being able to have full electric range, and that's going to be more and more increasingly popular within the Toyota lineup in the coming years. For me personally, I don't think it's quite worth it over the Rav4 hybrid, just based off the numbers and what I'm seeing out there. Yes, there's lots of cool features in this vehicle. The looks are a little bit more special. The electric range is pretty cool. And if your commute is under 40 miles a day, you're hardly ever going to use gasoline in this vehicle. So for me personally, I don't think it's worth the extra speed and the convenience of being able to plug it in, but it sure is cool to have those features. So final thoughts. With the Rav4 Prime, there's definitely a price to pay for the no compromise, all features, all avenues, whether it's electrified, hybrid, fuel efficient. It's got speed as well. And Toyota has given us something pretty darn special, the Swiss Army knife, the kitchen sink of today's automotive world. And Toyota just pretty much took their best-selling vehicle and threw everything they possibly had at it, and that's what we have today in the Rav4 Prime. And it will be exciting to see how Toyota plug-in hybrids / primes their entire lineup. And Toyota, if you're listening, a plug-in Prime Sienna minivan would be perfect for my needs. This is almost the perfect vehicle for most people out there. There's a price to pay for such perfection. And guys, I'll leave it there. What do you think? Do you think the Rav4 Prime is worth the price of admission? Or do you think most people would be better off just with the normal hybrid Rav4 or any other Toyota hybrid? Guys, I'll see you in the comments. It's been an absolute pleasure and joy to try Toyota's cutting edge technology, and they've done a wonderful job. It's just up to you guys to decide whether it's worth the price or not. I'll leave it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Smash the like button, subscribe if you want to see more Japanese and Korean auto coverage, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.